Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 137, I had the immense pleasure to have Mochi Robinson on. He is a composer and producer, and we were talking about his new project, Nostalgia One. We were talking also about, the sort of state of the music industry. We also talked about Coded Biased, a documentary which is now on Netflix. And how he came to be over in Edinburgh and his plans for the future. I got to say, very nice chap, very good conversation. I look forward to having more conversations with him in the future. So please sit back, enjoy the podcast, have a great day, and please subscribe. Have a great one, my friends, my life warriors. Peace. Ha ha.
Love it.
Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode, oh my God, it is episode 137. I have Mochi Robinson. What can I say about this gentleman here? He is, wow. Yeah. No. Like basically, he's a composer and producer. He has come out with his new creation for the nation, Nostalgia. How are you today,
man?
my Philadelphia
phenomenal,
friend?
my friend. Hey, brother from Philly. I'm doing phenomenal, man. How are you doing, man? Sun is out. It's hard to complain.
Look, you know what? Like, this is the thing. I was brought up, with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in my ears on a daily basis. And you know what I mean? He escaped Philly to go all the way to California, where it's hot, sunny, and maybe an occasional earthquake and forest fire, but not so much then.
A lot more forest fires now, for sure.
Well, hey, you decided to escape Philly, and you ended up where exactly?
In Scotland, in Edinburgh.
Oh my God. Scotland, Edinburgh. Okay, look, this is the thing. Don't get me wrong. Okay, look. Philadelphia during the summer, hot. Philadelphia during the winter, cold. Now you decided to go to Scotland. Describe it from a person who came from outside Scotland to Edinburgh, Scotland. What is the weather like?
Right. All right. So to be fair,
yeah,
I mean, all the temperatures are just a wee bit closer together. All right. So you don't get too hot of a hot, and you don't get too cold of a cold. So in Philly, I got to speak Fahrenheit for a second. In Philly, it'll get to below 0 degrees. It'll be in negative temperatures, which in Celsius is negative temperature. Yeah. And then in the summer, it'll get to 100 plus, 30, 35 plus. Humid as fuck. It's it's too hot. So here, I get a little sad when it's gray a lot. It is gray a lot, and the weather can never seem to make up its mind. Yeah, it'll be rainy one second, the next it'll start snowing. It literally today, when I was walking to this recording session, sunny, and I think it was maybe 11, 12 degrees Celsius. I'll talk Celsius. So it was not too cold out, and the sun was out, and fucking flurries started coming down, and I looked up at the sky. I said, "What are you trying to do to me right now?" I started laughing out loud. I'm sure someone thought I was going crazy, but I just I was beside myself that in April, the weather's really gonna tease me like that.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
It's not too bad.
Yeah. So, okay, why Scotland? What brought you into the realm of Scotland? What put it on your radar? Say.
Yeah. All right. So I would say, long story medium. My mom, she's from England.
Yeah.
She's from Sussex originally. My grandmother is actually from Glasgow. So I was able to get my UK citizenship. And my grandparents, they lived down in Cornwall. So every summer, every year, I used to go there. I had been there maybe 15 times, 16 times before the age of 20. So I felt relatively acclimated with UK culture. in
Mm-hmm.
general. And then my mom, she had a job to do. She had to help move someone into uni, into St. Andrews University.
Oh, impressive.
Yeah, and she had just had a surgery, so she couldn't really like lift up a bunch of things, carry a bunch of heavy ass suitcases and all that. Also, do you mind if I curse?
Look, you've already cursed once. You've cursed twice. Yeah. Look, all I've got to say is yes. You're a former Philadelphian with a potty mouth, sir. A
I
potty
appreciate
mouth.
it. Yeah, because like before I start getting into some, some thicker language, I was like, let me, because I can tailor it. But yeah, so I helped her move stuff to St. Andrews, and this was our first time, like both of us, first time being in Scotland. Uh,
Mm,
and after St. Andrews, which was lovely, but there's not a lot there. We came down to Edinburgh and spent, I think, 3 or 4 days here, and I fell in love with it. Like pretty much at like first sight, fell in love with it. There's this malty um, smell in the air, especially in the West End, because there's a brewery, so it's like malt and barley, something like that. Whatever like byproduct is made and thrown into the air, it's got this like very specific smell to it. Anyone that's ever been here, they know exactly what I mean. So I thought like, all right, interesting. And then it was in the night. I was roaming around. I got a little lost, and all of a sudden I see this red sign that said "Jazz Bar." I said, "Okay, I'll bite. Let me see what's going on with that." So I walk in, and it's set up almost like a classic like speakeasy. So you walk downstairs,
yeah.
give them your fiver, and then you're off and away. And when I get in there, it's like it looks pretty nice. It's pretty cool. I think there's like exposed stone walls and shit. But it was like a 10-piece band playing classic jazz. I
Mm.
was like, cool. I'm not a jazz musician, but I can always appreciate some nice sounds in the air. And then as soon as they finished, this blazing hot 6-piece funk band comes on. I said, hold on now. What is this going like? What's this all about? Stick around for a couple hours. I think probably till they closed at 2, and I just had like such a like wonderful sensational time, and it just like left a big imprint on me. And so when I went back to Philly, I was like, I want to leave this country. Also, Trump had just come into power, so I was like, I'm not really trying to stick around for much of this. I applied for my UK citizenship, and then maybe like 6 months later, I just packed my bags, got the heck on out of there, and I've been here ever since. And that was 2 years ago, just about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. My God. So like basically you brought over to help move stuff for your mother, like bit like a pack mule. As soon as you like got back, as soon as you got in, she was like, "Yeah, pick that up, lift that," and you couldn't
Yeah.
argue because yeah, she was like, "I just had a surgery. Come on."
Right. And it's my mom. I got so
Yeah,
much
yeah,
love for her. So I'm like, whatever you need, mom.
yeah. And like basically, you just wander around Edinburgh, you discover a jazz bar where like fortunately for you, there was a funky vibe going on. And yeah, basically, you came back to Philly 6 months. You went, yeah, Trump, no, bye bye, USA. And hello,
Peace.
hello, sunny Scotland. I say that.
Bunny Bunny Banks.
So, with this, like, okay, I assume you were doing music beforehand in like the United States. So,
Yes. Yeah. I went to uni for it.
yeah, okay. So how did you get into the sort of music sort of culture and vibe over here in Scotland?
Well, I think maybe surprisingly to everyone, it's got a great music scene,
Mm,
and there's a lot of funk and soul that's played. So it's just shit that's like right up my alley already. And I kind of got acclimated with it by through Instagram beforehand. So
mm,
hashtag Edinburgh music. If anyone's ever trying to move somewhere, search the hashtags of that place, and you'll get a vibe for like what's going on there. And so I saw that it wasn't just this one-off funk band in this jazz bar. It was all over the place. Like a lot of like really cool not just jazz and not just Scottish Cayleys folk music. it was, funky, soulful stuff that was being played. So I knew that it was the right move to make. So didn't have to get acclimated, didn't have to change anything. I was just like, this was already in my wheelhouse.
Like, I'm interesting, like, because like you've been there for 2 years, like,
Mhm.
well, hopefully you had fortunately to get into see what the Edinburgh Festival was like for one of them.
I moved here in the thick of of 2019, the thick
Yeah.
of it. It's crazy. That shit is crazy. Like, I had no idea. Like, I knew that the population doubled because I read up on that, but that doesn't prepare you for like how nuts and how kind of electric a city can become as a result. Like,
Yeah.
imagine if London just doubled in population for a festival. I don't think it could handle that.
No. 2012 Olympics. Come on now.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh yeah, like
That's
double.
fair.
Yeah, come on now. It's like
All right.
eyes of
I
the
stand
world.
corrected.
Yeah. Be humble. Yeah, like, this is the thing with the Edinburgh Festival. It's seeing like everyone I seem to have spoken to about the festival, because they've been in that realm of sort of comedy or theater, it always gets put through that sort of spotlight for me. I have no idea if it's like, if there's a sort of large music scene what goes on at the same time as the festival.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's everything. Literally everything in the art sector happens during the Fringe. I was actually supposed to play in the 2021. What was I gonna do? I was doing three different shows. I was gonna play something like 50 shows in 30 days or something like that. It was about to get crazy. But obviously COVID wrecked that. Lost a whole lot of money as a result. But I was excited. I think there's a bunch of tribute shows to like Elton John, Eric Clapton kind of stuff, and Average White Band, because that's Average White Band is actually from Edinburgh. So like, just if listeners aren't familiar, definitely check out Average White Band. 1970s, yeah, like 1976, great year for him. Blazing funk. They even did a record with, I believe it's Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, Teddy P. God damn. Yeah.
You already know. R.I.P. But yeah, so yeah, there's plenty of music that goes on, especially like even street musicians really can thrive in the summer, not even just during the festival.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Like, because like this is the thing with everything. Well, 2020 like definitely put a spanner in the works for many a person, and like this, being a musician, going to Edinburgh, extremely fortunate. I don't know if you knew about the Edinburgh Fringe beforehand, but or it was just a case of like Edinburgh Fringe. What's this? Oh,
yeah, barely knew about it to be honest. Like, barely knew about it.
Yeah,
you can see pictures, but that doesn't prepare you for
it. So like with that, it's like the sort of like, would you say coming over here sort of opened you up to sort of new musical experiences, or is it kind of the same but slightly different?
I mean, that's a good question. I would say experiences 1000%, like 1000. Just being in Europe in general and having that or used to be ease of access changes everything. But in regards to music, not so much, not entirely. Some local musicians for sure. Like, there's this Glaswegian band, Quarto Alto, that's crazy. They're so crazy. Just kind of like a brass band that's led by this ridiculous guitarist. So more so specific instances, but this hasn't necessarily blown my mind in regards to other kinds of music. I'd have to probably go to Africa and the Middle East to be like, what the heck is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I can imagine like with this, like being outside, doing the ultimate sort of get out of your comfort zone, like changing countries and stuff like that. I know some people go, well, but they speak English then. Like he came from an English speaking country. Like, no, shut up. It's like
Right.
it's
very different culture.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just that sort of like potential sort of growth of different experiences must be like, yeah, like challenge on each day. Like what I'm curious about, like, okay, how did like I'm sort of wanted to sort of get the UK side of things first, just because, yeah, it's the freshest thing. But when you started out in your whole music thing, because you said you studied for this before you came over that, what sort of kicked it off for you?
There's a game called Guitar Hero.
Oh my God. It's like you're like saying that to me like, yes, I know of Guitar Hero. Yes.
You know, and it was a game changer, absolute game changer. I had always been like a gamer my whole life. You know, usually like would have a Game Boy in hand. Actually, the album cover of the Nostalgia EP is supposed to be like rendition of me as a little boy playing my Game Boy, because I was like, that's what childhood was. And I went over to my mate's house after school one day, and he's like, "Yo, check out this game, Guitar Hero." I was like, "All right, whatever, man." There was a big identity crisis, so I really did not like rock music and what I called white people music for a long time, for a very long time. And I started playing it with him, and I said, "All right, this is kind of good. This is kind of good." Then I got obsessed. And then I asked my mom, "Can I get a guitar and some guitar lessons, please?" And very shortly after that, I got like, yeah, obsession might not even, be the right word for it. It was a little bit more than that. As soon as I finished school, I would even bring the guitar to school. But after I finished school, it would be from the second that I could lay my hands on the guitar until it was like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. I would just be practicing and playing, and that got me into the world of music. But I never thought that I'd be like a songwriter or would try to dedicate my life to it. I thought it was just a fun hobby at the time.
Right. So like, apart from Guitar Hero, so what was like your sort of inspirations from that? Because look, don't get me wrong, like there's Guitar Hero. When Guitar Hero was big, it was millions of people were like, yeah, you saw how they operated Guitar Hero either at home on the console or in an arcade. Like, oh, yeah, that's amazing. But not everyone goes, you know what? I want a guitar. Like, right. It's 12 o'clock in the morning. It's like, if I'm not studying, I'm strumming. I'm playing. Yeah.
Barely studying at that point too.
Yeah. So like, this is the thing. Was it like Hendrix? Like, you know what I mean? Was it sort of like
my friend? Oh man. I've got
as soon as I say Hendrix, okay.
I've got a Jimi Hendrix tattoo. Nice. Like I love him. Yeah, so I would say, so the game itself truly was the catalyst into wanting to do it. I had played piano when I was like 6 or 7 years old, but it felt like schoolwork. As soon as like my dad one day, like beat me because I didn't like practice that week or something like that, I was like, why would I want to do this? Why would I, like, if this is a possible consequence for not doing this, then let me just stop it altogether. So I stopped playing it. I stopped playing music, doing music, all of that for probably would have been about nearly 10 years, something like that. Yeah. So it was the catalyst. But then as soon as I heard some Jimi Hendrix, Little Wing is one of the greatest songs I think ever written. First of all, then I got obsessed with Metallica and Iron Maiden. Not your typical, if you're going from turn that white people bullshit off, Metallica is not your next step, usually.
Yeah, but like, this is the whole thing. When people go sort of rock and roll and everything like this, it's like, you got to remember, like, rock and roll stem from the blues, and like, you know what I mean? From rock and roll, it like basically heavy metal music, punk and everything like this, ska music. So it's like, when people like, I don't know, like, I don't like, when you don't know the sort of history of how music sort of developed and grew, you kind of like you can fall into those sort of traps where it's like, yes, this is just a white sound and everything like this. But you got to go, Yeah, no, it's a little bit more complicated than
It's a
that. You can't
lot deeper
just,
than
yeah.
that. It's a
So
whole
you
lot
can't
deeper.
just sort of like go put it down to this one thing and just like, yeah, that's what it is. And you can't like, right. And you go, right, country, like it's just so involved. And like when it's, I don't know, it just kind of, maybe I get it from some, like maybe some like Gen Z kid who doesn't know better these days. And like, yeah, it's like, oh, it's great that P. Diddley gave
P
Paul
Diddley.
McCartney a chance.
Oh yeah, Kanye. Like, oh my God, thank God, man. Paul McCartney's about to blow up.
Yeah, it's like and you kind of stare at him and go, oh, I
I know
thought
you heard of the Beatles, my
it's like,
guy. Like, I know.
it's like on the Beatles and okay, no, get out.
Hmm. And
But
but that you bring up like such a great point because I had just such a similar conversation during this recording session
mm,
where he actually asked me if I knew where Spanish sound kind of started to intermingle with like a black sound, like black hip hop or whatever.
mm,
And I was like, in a modern context or historically? He's like, well, historically. And so I started to talk about the Moors and how the Moors, were just like a phenomenal Middle Eastern, North African black civilization that loved mathematics, loved education, but also were very cultured and loved music, and how they then migrated towards Spain, where a lot of them ended up before the Catholics kicked them out.
hey,
Uh, but that's like historically where that started. That is where blacks, for lack of a better term, started to intermingle with Spaniards and
mm,
Europeans in like a true cultural kind of um, exchange. So there was that, which
mm,
like hundreds and half a millennia ago, more than, and then there's like 120 years ago or 160 years ago now, when the Great Migration happened and the freed slaves moved to like New York and Chicago and whatever. But then you also had a lot of immigrants coming from Latin American countries, so like Guatemala and Puerto Rico and Costa Rica, that they would go to these cities as well because that's where the work was. And so places, especially like New York, is a phenomenal place to see where cultures can mix.
mm.
So you have these like Puerto Rican neighborhoods next to these black neighborhoods, and so you've got these hip hop people listening to like this poppy music right next door. So it's a phenomenal place where like true what we think of today as like African American black culture mixed with Latin American Spanish culture.
Mm.
And yeah, that was just a very very interesting, very on topic conversation.
Hey, yeah, and when you say in New York, and like basically, got to say it's like from, I can like one of my things which is bad for me when it comes to sort of music and like knowing sort of bands and individuals. I'm not the best. I
Mm-hmm.
am no sort of like encyclopedia and go, oh, this person. But like when it comes to sort of like knowing like sort of certain places in history where things kicked off,
Mm-hmm.
kind like I I believe I am accurate. Sometimes I need to be fact checked, but yeah. But when you talk about rap and hip hop, it like yeah, New York City in the
Mm-hmm.
'70s, like basically kicked like really started to kick off in the '80s, and then you know what I mean,
Straight up.
like modern renditions came out in the '90s, and then don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on what comes out in the sort of new streaming generation, but
I
mm,
will. Like, I'll be the first to kind of hit on that. And like, no offense to anyone that likes like trap and whatnot. And this will be polarizing. I do feel some type of way about grime the way where it is now. I think
mm,
earlier grime, it was more unique and very like had its own cultural identity. But I feel modern day grime has moved more towards like trap, where they
mm.
try to kind of replicate each other. And I don't vibe with it. I don't vibe with it.
Mm.
But I, as a musician, I will always like feel respect and be like you're in your own lane doing your own thing. That it, I just know it's not for me. You know, yeah. But I think some of my well, actually, question for you: what is your favorite music? Like, kind of genres?
Now, this is the thing. I kind of have a eclectic blend, like because look, my favorite. Look, I was with music. I was introduced to sort of music in the sort of 70s, 80s. So like, look, Bob Marley, like basically Run DMC, like Fred, like Public Enemy, like yeah, then like Moving Forward, Big Pun, like yeah, like Biggie Smalls, like yeah, Tupac, and like you know what I mean, like sorry to say, DMX, like stay strong,
Dogman X.
yeah, stay strong. But like this is like when it came to sort of like music videos, which I was kind of introduced to a lot more through the sort of early, like late 80s, early 90s, like basically November Rain by Guns N' Roses. That music video, oh my, look, it like in my mind, it's like, look, you got Michael Jackson's Thriller, right? Which I just like, I go, look, for music videos of just like going, oh my God, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Epic on scale, like, oh, right, and cinematic. Michael Jackson's Thriller is up there, but if you want to go cinematic and with a class, like with an epic track, you got to put November Rain in there.
And well, that's where Axl Rose's wife like dies, right?
Yeah.
And then Slash is playing like a guitar solo at her funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the actual video itself, the full video is 11 minutes long. I know this for a fact because
they made a movie.
I listened and listened, not listened, just watched it again and again and again. I'm like, okay, from like the wedding to the sort of like them sort of, and then to the funeral scene, and like with like Slash's solo in the middle to it. Like, look, if you're about to go up for a sport or like going and you got that guitar solo going on,
it's not bad for inspiration.
Oh, get fired up.
I'll take on Ali with that.
Well, good luck to you. I won't put money on you.
Good thing he's in the grave now.
Well, hey, I still wouldn't put money on you. Hey, well, I got to say, I stand a chance. Do you? Maybe. maybe not. But but that's kind of like how it goes for me. Like, and I go through these sort of spates where I'll listen to music. Like, I'll go through like a 2-year period where I'll be like music, and then nothing for a good like 5 years. And like I would say right now, this is kind of the longest where I've gone without sort of like going dipping into that whole music thing, because I might sound old-fashioned by saying this, but it seems like the sort of realm of music has gone through a bit of a strange turn with regards to the realms of streaming. Like in this day and age, it's kind of like, it's not done for the actual track anymore. It's kind of just done to fit that sort of 2-minute to 2.5-minute segment to get that in on your whole streaming thing. I could be wrong, but you know what I mean? You are a composer, you are a producer, you know better than I. Yeah.
No, I mean, you're pretty right there, especially like, I think the Spotify CEO kind of illuminated it in such a way where a bunch of us, I would say artists, complain about how little that Spotify pays per stream. It's, micro cents, 0.000 whatever. And he said, okay, well, just make more content, just make more stuff. And it's like, yo, my friend, like we could do that, but then it would be shit. It would all be shit. You're just making it to make money. Whereas like, we could say whatever we want about the legacy of Michael Jackson, but I think Off the Wall and Thriller are two of the greatest records ever made. And that's it. They're like, between the two of them, that's maybe, I think, 23, 24 songs. And I'll take those 24 songs over some people's entire catalog. It's like quality over quantity. And the entire streaming model is not geared towards that. Like, you can only listen to this one song so many times on repeat, before you're sick of it. So yeah, you're onto something there, where it's like it's made for the 2.5 minutes to just like quickly can make sure that it's put onto the Spotify playlist. And albeit, I'll say like a lot of my music is quick. Like I do have like short 90-second songs, 2-minute long songs. But with that being said, I just had a conversation with a friend yesterday where I try to put us into a world. So it's not necessarily that the one song is 90 seconds, but it's like the album itself is like a 20-minute body of work that you should listen to in its entirety.
Mm.
Not like let me pick a single here and the rest are kind of throwaways. It's all like kind of one cohesive work. And I feel like for a lot of artists that's been lost where they just worry about the single, put the single on Spotify, hope that it gets put onto a playlist, and then later they'll worry about maybe putting an album together with it.
That's not good. Look, because I don't know. Maybe it was a case of like before. It was like yes, um, they did the singles like basically in the 50s, 60s, and then basically in the 70s it was like okay, do the album, and then basically take it from there in the 70s and 80s, and possibly the 90s, and then 20 like the early noughties came along where music industry was like all panic stations. Oh my god, what's this thing called the internet? It's
Right.
surely
LimeWire,
yeah,
Rhapsody, what's going on
yeah,
here?
it should have went away by now. It's like going, have you seen what's going on? It's like going,
Yeah. It's
it's
not
like
going
yeah,
nowhere.
yeah, just like yeah, I won't even lie. Like oh god, like when you talk about hard work, that I downloaded the whole of David Bowie's like catalog.
Wow.
No,
That's a
no,
lot.
like no. Put it this way, like this was like years ago, maybe 10 years ago. When I saw it, it was like yeah, 45 hours. I was like, oh my god, no, couldn't do
Yeah,
it.
it would be similar with Prince. Like there are so many songs that we just like never knew about, and Prince has like the estate has so many songs locked away in the vault that we won't hear for like another decade or something like that.
This way, like in my mind, the two hardest working people who like just pumping out songs, like Prince is
Mm-hmm.
number one, and like Dolly Parton is there with him as well. Look, you like
Fucking Dolly.
you go
Yeah.
right. You go what Dolly Parton? Yeah, no, both of these guys are most probably put out stuff on the down low and like you know what I mean, just sitting on stuff, and you like go
Just
okay,
never stop working.
oh yeah, and like with that type of work ethic, you go right, which I think is some like with what you said about people just doing the whole let me get my 2.5 minutes out and stuff like that, my individual songs. That kind of work ethic is kind of gone. I'm not too sure if it comes down to the way it's being charged with the micro payments,
Yeah.
just encouraging that type of thing. But
How it's digested too.
yeah, like so would you say that the rewards of what album could bring have gone forever, or would you say it's something different now?
Well, if we ever look at history, we know things go in cycles.
Mm.
So there is a vinyl resurgence. So I think with something like that, um, that a lot of artists, what we hear on the radio, not so much. What like TikTok songs, that's a whole other thing. TikTok, a lot of people make songs specifically for TikTok. Like,
Yeah.
this will be for a cute dance trend. Oh my god, I'm just reading right now. DMX died.
No, no.
I wish you didn't say anything, man. Yo, what? Oh,
Uh,
that's I didn't mean to derail this, but that was like well too on point. Oh man, I'm a rough rider. Damn, because I had his CD growing up, like in the '90s. I had his CD growing up. Don't know why my parents let me have that.
oh man, look, the DMX's first album. Oh God, why am I blanking on? Hell on some like basically it reminded me of my time in summer camp. It was 1996. Like basically I came over in 95, like 94,
Mhm.
95, like was my first time in upstate New York. Don't know if you know like a town called Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like basically in a town, I was just a little bit south in a town called Fishkill, and like the
Okay.
reason why Fishkill,
By the cat scales.
yeah, just like we're further south, but yeah,
Yeah.
Fishkill. There's a like there's there's in Fishkill, like you've got the town, and then if you go, I can't remember if it was east or west. Like you had the summer camps, part of the Fresh Air Fund organization. I was in Camp Hayden Marks. There was Camp ABC. There was there was Camp Pioneer, which is now Camp Tommy, and we had like Camp Hidden Valley, and we had Camp Mariah. Yes, after Mariah Carey. So yeah, basically, like, and when you went out through town to get to the train station, there was these two prisons separated by the highway. Okay, one was a maximum security prison, one was like a minimum security prison. And like, yeah, what made that famous was Tupac went to prison there. So it was like, yeah, yeah, it was like, yeah. And like I was in this barber's, like waiting, like in Harlem, like waiting to get my hair cut, man. Like I was like basically like Brett just walked in and like, yeah, like, so like I was subject to the cues. Like I was not gonna get jumped ahead or anything like that. So I was like, yeah, sitting there watching everything go by. And this barber, like people come up, whisper things to him. Yeah, off they go on their merry way. That's like, yeah. I sit down in this chair, like, because I was like, yeah, man, no American twang. Or I was like, yeah. I was like, sat down in the chair. It's like, oh, where are you from? I was like, I'm from the UK. He goes, from the UK? What are you doing over here? I was like, oh yeah, I'm like working in a summer camp in like upstate New York. Whereabouts? I went, Fishkill. He goes, oh, I know Fishkill. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Goes, yeah. Why is that? Yeah, I went to prison there. I was like,
yeah. Was like, upstate means something different for a lot of people.
Yeah. I'm sitting in this chair just after he's like finished cutting my hair. I was like, he's like going, yeah, how does it look? Good, fine, perfect. You know what I mean? Like he could have had a squiggly zigzag in my head. I'll be like, yeah, I love it. I love it.
Never had a better cut in my life.
Oh God, so fresh, so fresh. But yeah, but it was like, yeah. But when I think of DMX, damn, Dark in Hell, yeah,
confirm.
Yeah, well, and like, I listened to that track. I swear it was 96, 97, but like, you know what I mean? I might be wrong, but that album, when he came out with it, was so oh God. You're like going, what? Damien? Like that little like rendition there. You're like, right. Oh my God. I loved it. Oh, damn.
That is, I mean, yeah, it's the only reason why I mentioned it is because, you know, he was brought up earlier and I'm like, that's crazy timing. Very, very crazy timing. So RIP. And pour one out for your homie tonight for sure.
Yeah, indeed. No, respect to you, my friend. Respect. Oh,
damn. No, actually, just like a small fun fact or a question and then a fun fact. Was there a river in Fishkill?
Well, like basically, you had to go along the Hudson to get up to like basically Fishkill and Poughkeepsie. Like, you know, yeah, you had to, I'm throwing my mind back around about 20 something years. So it's like,
of course.
Yeah. But yeah, you had, like, if you were going by train, you had to go to Poughkeepsie. So you had to, like, the train, you had to go. You
had to go past where you were going to and then, like, catch a bus or something.
Yeah, basically, to come back down.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. But,
no, I only asked because you know that the Dutch founded New York, like the Dutch were there before the English.
Yes.
And then Kil is a Dutch word meaning river, Kil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they're in Philly, we've got the Schuylkill. It's like actually pronounced Schuylkill, but we call it the Schuylkill. And that means hidden river, Schuyl, Shu, and then Kil means hidden river. And that's because it was completely blocked off by trees. You couldn't really see it. So it's damn near impossible to get up in there. But the Dutch found a way.
Well, like they always, you know what? Back in the day, they always did. It's like, yeah.
If they have money to be made, man, they're they were gonna deforest the whole thing and then kill everyone in sight. If that meant that they would get their money.
Well, hey, well, and they always did. They always
Mm-hmm.
did. Speak to a Native American, they'll soon tell you. It's like going,
Not a ton of them left, man,
well,
and
yeah,
they're stuck on the
exactly.
reservations. Actually, I was watching, not to get too off topic, but I was watching this like pretty disgusting National Geographic. I could only watch like an episode of it. It was like a docu series
Mm,
where it was called the Frontiersman. And at first, I was like, "All right, this is cool," but it was just yet another like America propaganda, showing like how these frontiersmen were just so heroic, and they they were just seeking a brand new life for them, and it, despite whatever they were doing to the Native Americans, it was like divine right type shit.
yeah. No, like this is the thing when you're going with the whole manifest destiny and like
Yep.
basically you kind of like when you hear one side of history from one point of view and then basically don't get me wrong, like that time in American history and everything like this, look, I would say atrocities were committed all around the place. And I'm not going to say it was just purely Europeans and everything like this, like Native
Mm-hmm.
Americans be Native Americans. They were not, I would say, the most chill people when it came to themselves as well.
No, no,
Like,
the warring tribes, like, for damn
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
but it
Uh,
was never in mass. And one of the craziest stories I ever like heard was that what after the railroads were made and you were going like
mm,
across the country, um, if they saw, meaning like the white folk, if they saw a herd of buffalo, they would stop the train, they would get out, and they would kill the entire herd
mm,
because they knew that the Native Americans used the buffalo in their entirety for hide, for food, their bones
yeah,
for weapons. It's just as an extension of like mass genocide.
mm.
It was like sinister like that.
Yeah, like this, like yeah, I've seen documentaries where you see like all the sort of pelts and bones and like everything like this where they did
Mm-hmm.
that, or and it is quite mental to think that there was such an abundance of one creature in America on that level. Like, look, if you went to maybe Texas, you might see axes there, but like which have been kind of imported in. And
Mm-hmm.
like, well, put it this way, Texas, there's like 5 to 7,000 tigers just roaming around in Texas, just chilling. Is that just right? Which is
Yeah.
mental to me.
Right.
But yeah, but it's like quite crazy when you think, yeah, there was like not hundreds of thousands, not millions, like tens of millions of like, yeah,
Yeah.
buffalo just roaming, just like roaming free.
Just
And
loving their life.
it's quite crazy, quite crazy. But you mentioned like people making tracks for TikTok. Now, as a producer, like have you been kind of tempted by say one or two other sort of like mediums, like either like just for the streaming platforms, say TikTok, or maybe even say like gaming, for example, like basically, you know how people got to stream on Twitch and like
Mm-hmm.
doing like tracks for that. Have you been kind of like lured in by the dark side of the music force?
I would say, I mean, 1000%. It's always been like a thought and a consideration, and I think any kind of artist, regardless of the medium, they'd be dumb not to try to capitalize on like whatever kind of trends are happening at the time.
Mm,
Um, and I wouldn't, I don't even want to try to be on a high horse and say that I've got more integrity than the next person to do that. I just have not done that. The idea of like if you can make one song and it can be in this like it can be a part of a TikTok trend, TikTok dance or whatever, and
mm,
suddenly like millions and millions of people around the world are listening, dancing to it, reposting, blah 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 blah. Like that sounds amazing, and that sounds like a lot of coin in my pocket. Um, but at the other end of it, I don't want to. I don't want to. Like at least not right now. Um, I don't want to not make the kind of music that I want to make. just for really the paycheck at the end of the day, or just for a chance to do that. Because there's
Mm.
obviously there's so far from a guarantee that something like that would even pop off or anything like that. So then I just like made this song that I don't even really necessarily like myself for this format, for this medium, and nothing really comes from it. No, I think for Twitch streaming, and really anything of like background kind of music stuff,
Yeah.
or I've gotten into photography over like here we go, let's get it.
Which
Got
like is that film or a digital camera?
film, my friend, film. This is the Zenit EM with the Helios lens. If you know, you know.
Wait, is it a nifty 50?
Nah, no. But I do actually one of the cameras, that guy that's in the other room, is from like 1955 or something like that. It's like this nice TLR twin lens reflex waist level finder, like one of those rectangular boxes your grandmother probably has. But I was watching an absurd amount of photography YouTubes, like Joe Greer and Grainy Days and that kind of shit. And in every single one of those, the format is the same, and it works because I was engaged with it. It's like lo-fi hip hop over like a nice aesthetic. Like maybe they'll show like them loading the camera with film or something like that, or like their morning routine, getting ready to go on their like photo shoot or street photography or whatever, and it would always be with like this nice lo-fi hip hop in the background. So that's the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, I make music in this realm, in this genre already. I could conceivably make something with this in mind. That's where I think people should kind of if they're gonna make something for something with the idea of it being like commercialized heavily, let it be like within what you're already doing. Don't twist and turn your body, just for the paycheck. But at the end of the day, you gotta eat. You gotta eat bread. So whatever you gotta do, and you gotta hustle your own way to get there. But I don't care about money enough like that. I would just rather kind of suffer a little bit and just make the stuff that's like kind of true in my heart than sacrificing something for bread with mayo and some butter and some cheese. I'll just take the loaf, my friend.
Loving it. Like, because like this is the thing when you say YouTube and like this back, I would say if this was 4 years ago, vlogging was the major thing, and like Mr. Casey Neistat was like killing it. I don't do you know Casey Neistat?
I don't know her specifically.
Like basically used to do a daily vlog. Basically it was like I would say a 5 to 10 minute short film. Like,
okay,
how
quick cuts, probably.
Yeah, quick cuts. Yeah. Basically, you would have like a particular tune in the back, as you said, like would have some lo-fi hip hop or something else. But he always kind of had the knack of knowing how to marry it up to the story. So the beginning, middle, and end, and that track would, because vlogging was like the biggest thing at that time. All of a sudden, if you watched a number of vlogging channels, you would actually hear that music start to creep in. And if they were using, I don't know if he got it from Epidemic Sound. I'm not too sure if he got it from Epidemic Sound or say, is it Audio Ship or Basic Audible? Not Audible, no, that's the books. But
but one of those kind of like mass library of song kind of thing.
So I'm not too sure if he got it from there, but it was quite effective. And like this is the thing, it just set things up quite nicely. Sounds like it might be something quite up your street, that type of thing.
I mean, I'm like writing notes over here, like okay.
But it was like very sort of it was like charming. And like I would say, even though he doesn't sort of put out as much content, you're talking like a supposed dead channel which still gets millions upon millions of views, and So it's like, yeah. So yeah, sure.
And that is a good point because like yeah, I feel like 4 or 5 years ago, vlogs in general, that's like when they really started to make like a climax. And having not seen any of their videos, still knowing that it would be like, you know, quick cuts and that kind of stuff, like the format has not changed since then because it's clearly something that's engaging, that works. You know, these videos that aren't too long, because that's a whole other thing of why I think like songs in general are now short again. You know, we were limited back in the 50s and 60s because of vinyl, because the single side could only be so long. It could only be, I think 3 minutes was like pushing it. So that inherently you're gonna have shorter songs. But now I think we got such shorter songs because we've got such a shorter. The word.
What you mean? That attention span?
That's the word, exactly. As soon as I got to it, it's like fuck, it's gone out of there. Yeah, because we got such a shorter time. Oh my god, and it left again. I keep thinking of the word time span, attention span.
There you go. It's like,
maybe I'm part of the problem.
Well, hey, it's been a long day, man. It's been a long day.
It has been, man. It really has been. I'll use that excuse.
Okay. Yeah, because like this is the thing. Like okay, I would say without the sort of rise of Spotify or like, you know what I mean, basically Apple's store and everything like this, I thought like you would get tracks which would be at least 10 minutes long, because look, we live in an age at this present time where God, like you could do a long format easy, like on your computer at home, like, you know what I mean? Like
made an hour and a half long one song, it doesn't, you know, it wouldn't matter.
You can do that. And look, in the realm of music production, which, oh my God, look, and in your time from going to like college, well, Fred, like even if we went further back, in your time from going from high school all the way up to present day, look, music production has changed so radically that you can do it on an iPad. Or even on your phone. And like,
you know who Steve Lacy is?
No, I do not.
He's sorry to cut you off, just because like he is literally like a LA producer, produces for, you know, Kendrick and like fucking upper echelon people. I think he was a part of the band The Internet. Speaking of, and he was pretty much exclusively producing on his phone, on his iPhone. He'd be sitting in these recording studios that were, you know, had like $50,000 just soundboards with you know, all of the outboard gear and you know, sitting next to Kendrick Lamar, and he'd be producing on his phone. So and his songs slap hard. So he made it work for himself. But it's crazy. It's transformed so fast, so rapidly. Even from when I was in high school. And so I'm 27 years old right now. And I was in high school. I graduated in 2012.
Yeah.
I was like, is that right? Yeah, that's right. So almost 10 years ago, I graduated from high school. And I was working on GarageBand. And then pretty soon after that, then went on to Logic. Logic had an upgrade. And then got into Ableton and everything. And it's what a different world we've gotten to since doing tape. We got digital 40 years ago, and that changed the entire like face of music. And now you've got every other, you know, it was Tom, Dick, and Jane is a bedroom producer now, because all you need is the laptop or your phone or your iPad.
Not like this is the thing. Like, I'd say that may have affected the quality in some respects, but like you just got to. People go, yeah, but there's so many people. But you gotta go, right. But I kind of look at it from the realms of empowerment, because like to sort of get started before, okay, God knows how much you had to spend. You know, I would say it would like if someone goes, yeah, it'd be like, yeah, you got to pay £500 for this piece of equipment, but you need this piece of equipment to make that work. But by the time you've got something which could just chug out a little tune.
Thousands has been spent in the process.
Yeah. And you go, right, that might be a barrier to entry. But if you've got one person, as you say, with the talent, using just a phone, forget the iPad, just a phone to go, right, I can put this out there. Mm-hmm. My God. That is you know what I mean?
Game changer.
Yeah.
And it is pretty subjective to say quality has gone down, because I mean a lot of people like Lil Xan and Lil Yachty and all the they're called SoundCloud rappers.
Yeah.
And SoundCloud is a free music platform, so it was without that free, easily accessible platform, a lot of those kind of people wouldn't be popular. And while I may think that they're shit, and I do aggressively think that they make horrible music, that's not necessarily for me to say when they have a lot of fans. They're making music that people like, a bunch of people like. So while we may have a different kind of standard or different idea of what good music is, that changes from human being to human being. Luckily there's billions of us on here.
Indeed, yes. Rapping just about my supremes or something like this. My supreme.
About to get triggered by that shit, man. Yeah, literally. What was that Kanye song that he made with one of the Lils? You look like broccoli, not broccoli, but something dumb like that.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. I don't Kanye. Kanye hasn't been on my radar for a little bit of time. Look, when it was purely about the music for Kanye, College Dropout and everything like that,
2004 was a good year.
Yeah, I was just I was there. I was yeah, play that again, play it again. And then look, I don't know if it's a case of yes, the bubble he lives in, the world he's in, or yes, or his genius. It's he's kind of wandered away from that a lot. And look, some of the stuff he said over the last few years, you kind of go, okay, Kanye.
Yeah. And we could say mental health, this, that, and the other, and we should always advocate for mental health.
Oh, but, absolutely.
Don't fucking say that this guy is a genius when he does, say and do these things. I think Yeezys are pretty cool, but I think a lot of the other fashion stuff he does, I'm I don't get it. This is not wearable. This is not usable for a human being. This is just strange just for the sake of being strange. And I think his music is diverted in that direction as well. Because I'm very much of the era where I think I love Kanye. As soon as he graduated college, I don't know about that. 808 and Heartbreak's pretty good album. After that, you got to really heavily try to convince me that these bodies of work even compare to College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation. You would really have to make some PowerPoint presentations on that.
I don't have the time or energy to do that for you right now, because I think there was a year where he literally produced a track every week, or it was just yeah.
Good Friday.
Yeah. So it was yeah, boom, 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 and it was okay, you're doing that, and respect to you, but
some of them were bops, I will say.
Yeah.
But then others were trash.
Yeah, because you think about it, right? Say if you got a 1 in 20 sort of hit ratio. You know what I mean? It's just so you're gonna get 2 truly fire tracks, 2, possibly 3 at a push, and then you know what I mean? All right, and then
and then what were you thinking here? Kind of.
Yes, it's just okay, I'm not too sure why you're using the harp in this bit with this flute, but okay, you can.
That sounds good though. That sounds good in the abstract harp and flute. I love classical music.
Yeah.
And I think we should involve more classical instruments, # classical musicians, blah, blah, blah. I'm a proponent of that. Oh yeah. Well, on this last one of my good friends is a violinist, and she sang on it, and she did some violin stuff. So like I do love it. I do love it.
Ex-
But it all depends on your application of it, you know. If you're
mm.
doing it with these weird 808s and you're rapping about champagne on the booty, eh, I don't know, man. I don't know. It might be a miss for me.
Yes, I don't. Might be a mess. Might be a mess.
Oh,
Like this,
definitely.
yeah. No, but like this is the thing. One of the things which I like with regards to like the music platforms, like I used to think Spotify most probably was going to be the home, like the new home for music and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
this. But I've changed my opinion on that, and that sort of coincided with around about sort of August, September last year,
Okay.
when they basically did the Joe Rogan deal. And look, like basically Joe Rogan podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience.
Mm-hmm.
I would say he's most probably the most like arguably the most popular podcast in the world.
Right.
Okay, long form content. I mean, when I say long form, talking 2 hours is a short podcast for him, but like
Right.
3 hours, 3.5 hours. And
He
like I was
does
like,
run his gob a lot.
yeah. So it was kind of like, okay, right. If you're going down this sort, pushing down the podcast medium a lot more, which like is like most podcasts, they are about an hour, maybe a little bit longer or
Mm-hmm.
half an hour, which is in comparison to music, long form,
Long
especially
form.
yeah, and especially today. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what the guy, like what the head of Spotify was saying. Yes, produce more stuff. It kind of like going, do you really want more stuff from us, or are you going in a completely different direction? Like the long
Or do you
form.
just want more content from musicians that you can then monetize and you can make more money from because you can
Yeah.
put more ads on these? Yeah, that's ironic and very much not practicing what you're preaching type of deal.
Mm. Yeah. So with regards to nostalgia, your
Hmm.
current project, what like so have you been looking to put out on something like Spotify, or have you been like going, let's do it through alternative measures?
It, so it is out on all the streaming platforms. So you
Mm.
got to play the game, unfortunately. But when I did first put it out, I first put it out on Bandcamp for Bandcamp Friday, which is usually
Ah.
first Friday of the month. They've been doing it through COVID. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Bandcamp.
No, I'm not.
Um, cool. So it's a really really beautiful website. And my good friend uh, out in Colorado, when we were going to school together, went to school out in California for a little bit. Um, he first introduced me to this because I was just putting out singles on SoundCloud, and
Mm.
then he's like, "Mochi, why don't you go into Bandcamp? You can, like kind of compile it into albums, and you could sell it if you want to." Um, so that was like my preface in understanding what it was. It's become such a great tool and such a great alternative platform to the streaming platforms. And so basically Bandcamp Friday, first Friday of every month, you'll probably release something or whatever, but anything that is made money wise from that is 100% yours.
Oh,
They
okay.
take usually 10% or 5% off of whatever the deal is, just because they're hosting it. But yeah, Bandcamp Fridays, 100% of it goes to you. Um, and so Nostalgia One, because there will be others, um, was first put out on Bandcamp for the Bandcamp Friday, and it didn't make a ton of money from it, but literally you could have given me a tenner, and I would have made more money from that one transaction than like a month or two of streaming. So that's kind of like the gross inequity of what we're talking about. If back in the day, if you were spun on the radio, you could get like I think it was like $1 or $2 per spin. So and that's in one radio station. So
Mm.
if you've got this, if you've got a DMX track out, and every hip hop station in America is playing you like 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, and across hundreds, you just made in a day thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So like it kind of brings back that kind of idea, like the importance of like this is how artists survive is not through fucking microcents and millions of streams to get to maybe 10K in that like quarter or whatever. It's, you know, if you like this person, you like the music that they're giving and you want to support them, you know, this is how you can directly give it to them. You could also sell your merchandise on there as well. So
Okay.
if you got like, I'd say this like I have merch myself, but if you've got like Mochi sweatshirts or I wear a lot of trackies and all that stuff. So if you have like that kind of stuff, it's a great platform to sell on there as well.
Hey man, like I think you should like do a sweatshirt or something with your name on, just like big print. Look, Mochi, it's happy, it's snappy. No, but like
it's gonna happen.
yeah, like I think you should, because like this is the thing. It brings me to like one of my thoughts. Like, okay, can you just like it doesn't seem like you can just be kind of an artist. You got to have your like irons in many fires. So like, yeah, you're like composer, producer, but like okay. But it's like, yeah, like like not Bandcamp, Bandcamp?
Thank you.
Yeah, Bandcamp. Bandcamp, like okay, YouTube, if not YouTube, Spotify, in like basically
All of these
Patreon, yeah,
avenues.
just sort of to like just to sort of generate interest and potentially generate some income because
Mm-hmm.
at this present time, how everyone seems to be getting on this sort of bandwagon. It used to be, yeah, Patreon was the thing. Like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
please support my
Mm-hmm.
Patreon, and like, yes, I can
Get
make
this exclusive content. Like,
absolutely.
you need to have fans or like a platform where there's enough people to even go to that Patreon that want to give you, you know, $12 a month or $30 a month to get this exclusive stuff.
Yeah, but that leads to my point. Like, yeah, now YouTube is kind of getting onto that, which I would say would have been a sort of thing which would have generated that a lot more for people,
Mm-hmm.
like sort of that following. And I think was Twitter thinking about doing something? I think I read something about Twitter possibly like doing sort of like microtransactions, so you can get on board with that. So it's like with all of this, and like you mentioned merch and everything like this. So is like, do you have to have this sort of big sort of active plan to sort of like go, okay, this is where I'm at, but I need
Yeah.
to do this to make this overall happen?
Yeah. Okay. So I think, you know, in the future, not even in the future, it's 2021.
Yes.
You 1000% need to have all of these different avenues and channels to even consider being able to support yourself, especially as like an independent artist.
Mm.
You know, you can still get the big record deal, and that'll take care of so much of that worry away from you. Um, I think it's unfortunate because that, in a way, like you have to be engaging in Instagram, or you have to, you know, content. You got to keep people engaged. You got to make people interested in you. You can't, you know, put out the one record every other year or something like that, and then just the machine will work and people will keep listening to that for 2 years. Like
Mm.
those days are long gone. Um, and how I said before, like, you know, vinyl kind of will give us more of a resurgence of the importance of albums. I don't think we'll ever be able to digest our music and our art in general the same way. Just like streaming and TV shows and movies is like
Mm.
you can binge watch an entire series in a day. You know, you don't have to wait and sit through commercials every week. Like, so, you know, music is far from the only sector that's having to deal with it. I think it's an unfortunate reality
Mm.
that this is where we're at, but it forces, you know, me and everyone else to have to not necessarily think outside the box, because the boxes are already here and they're given to us, but it forces us to, you know, not be so one dimensional necessarily. A big thing that I didn't think I would consider doing like photography in any kind of official capacity, but the more I did it, I started obsessing with it, much like I did in the early stages of music. I was pointing at my bass over there. My You can't see what I'm pointing at.
It's like,
Um,
okay. What's he pointing at? Wait, I'm not too sure. He's just pointing in that direction. It's like
the dog over there. No. But see, I started like obsessing over it, and I would never try to say like I think I got good at it, but I think I'm far better than I ever thought that I could be. So that's something that is going to be another avenue that I'm going to be looking into to try to monetize on as well. You know, whether it be like prints or something like that, album covers for other people, because I have the shittest handwriting I've done ever seen, and I cannot draw. Like Stickmen is my level of creativity as regards to drawing. So I think like doing album artwork kind of stuff with that would be pretty good. Photo shoots, portraits, headshots for actors and whatnot. These are the kind of things where I have to like consider, like, if I want to try to survive solely as an artist, this is what's necessary today. Unfortunately, you know, yeah, you can't just have even if you have a hit, you can have a hit that's streamed millions of times, and that's like, you're not a millionaire. You're far from it. You just got like a $12,000 check this quarter, but who knows? People might stop streaming it.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah. No, I hear that. No, because boy, it's tough. Because like I think that's one of the things. I don't think people discuss that enough. Like for potential artists, that you can't just be an artist. You look. Just that day of you rocking up and go, I write my songs and I perform, and like, yeah, it's
like,
a case
cool.
Of, yeah, you know, it's that's a case of you got to have so much more in the arsenal just to get the attention in the first place, because as you said, look, there's so many distractions right now, like streaming TV. Like, look, like I'm a kid of the 70s and 80s. Look, I'm one of the TV shows which was a mainstay in my life. 2 TV shows I can remember. Like, yeah, like the A-Team and Knight Rider. Okay, look, tell week after
Amazing
week,
American exports.
Hey, look, there will be people like you could go onto the streets out there. There'll be kids playing out. That TV show came on, and they would be deserted. Everyone was in a place at the same time, and once it was done, you had to wait a week. And like, you know what? And this is the thing. Like we had no sort of concept of, yes, that series is over. So when it disappeared for like its hiatus for like maybe 3 to 6 months, it was like, okay, what do I do in between that time? And music would most really fit in. Now, as you mentioned, just binging a series like that. Look, like doesn't stand, like there's a lot of things it doesn't stand a chance against that type of sort of attention. And like basically, doing the YouTube channel, doing the Instagram, doing like Twitter, doing streaming, doing like, it's just like a lot of doing. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are people which are like, I'm doing very nicely, thank you, with the way the world is, and I don't have to report to no sort of like manager or like, you know what I mean, label. Long live, let these days reign. And like with yourself, when you're like, I'm going to do photo prints and stuff like this, and maybe album covers and like, look, all I've got to say is you are moving rapid, like you're doing film shots right now. Welcome to the world of digital. Like, because
no, and it's expensive as shit just doing film too, but I know that my stuff wouldn't look as good on digital, and I have to edit it, and I have to get the the Lightroom and then Photoshop just to make my stuff look better. Man, we live in a tough world today, I would say.
Hey, look, tough world, tough challenges, and look, and like that camera, it just looks fantastic. Look,
finished the roll today.
Kodak film. Oh my god, it's like
Kodak Gold, my friend.
Okay, but I would simply say, if you get on to sort of like the music video side of things, if you do go digital, that's another realm of like possible income for you, because all I would simply say is do the photography as well. If that comes down to it, yeah, doing headshots and stuff like this, because more people, when the world goes back to normal, whenever that might be, 2022, 2023,
Right.
it's like going,
and it's different country by country. Like America's opening up super rapidly, like a lot of places. We've been in tier whatever lockdown for for more than a year, pretty much. There's a couple months where it changed. Boris said, "Yeah, fucking go to the pubs and eat out to help out." And Nicholas said, "Hold on, pump the brakes. Let's shut that shit down immediately."
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll find out whenever. One of my friends that I had run into today, he said that he doesn't even know when they're going to be going back to work, and he's at a pub. Boris has said, what is it, June 26th? That's the date everyone has in their mind.
Basically, I think it's June. It's either June 23rd or June 26th. I can't remember exactly. But that's when it's meant to be everything kind of like, gets to that sort of level of like back, like, if you're in a pub which has no like pub garden or anything like that, you can go to that pub or a restaurant out in the open spaces. But on Monday, I believe, the 12th, that might be Tuesday. No, Monday the 12th. That's when we come out of lockdown officially here in the UK. I'm not too sure if it's the same in Scotland.
April 26th.
April 26th. Yeah. So basically, lockdown comes off. Everyone goes like, well, we are still in lockdown, but it's like, a tier.
We're now in a tier system. Yeah.
We'll be in sort of a tier 3. So non-essential shops will be back, but gyms will be back, thankfully. But yeah, there are a number of things which will come back, but it's not going to be, we're back. And I don't think that's not going to be until sort of June-ish. And that's still going to be, kind of.
And we'll see. Because the whole vaccination thing has been kind of crazy, like really, really crazy to imagine that like America globally has done the best. Whereas like right before Biden came into power, it seemed pretty evident that America was doing the worst with it. Like absolutely by far. You had so many anti-vaxxers being like, I'll never blah, 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 blah. And just, it seemed like there's no national plan over there. But like overnight, all right, in the first 100 days, 100 million people, we're going to get it.
Yeah.
In Philly, after, I think it was like May 1st, or it could have been like sometime in the next couple of weeks, that anyone that wants it can get it. Just sign up for it. Like that kind of a shit. In here in Scotland, I don't think people in my age group are supposed to start getting it unless you're in like an essential worker or whatever until mid-May or June. So how can we be fully open by June if most people haven't even been fully vaccinated?
No, but like this is the thing. You're 27. Look, you are pretty much last on the list. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it's like no. Like as you say, if you're not an essential worker, you are not going to see that for a healthy bit of time. No, I would say with regards to UK sort of efforts getting people vaccinated, look, we're doing well.
Better than Europe. In general.
Look, let's just say with Europe's shenanigans over the last sort of like few months, like I voted to stay in the EU, and look, I'll quite happily say, yeah, you know what, I was wrong. Look, these guys out there are they're not actually getting they're just not getting their shit together, because all I would simply say is, when you kind of just do everything by committee, you kind of
you go through the bureaucracy, and it's difficult to get things done.
Yeah, it's slow, it's awkward, and it's a time of emergency. And look, don't get me wrong, if I was part of the sort of EU family right now, I'll be looking quite closely which countries sort of get that vaccine a lot quicker than other countries. Let's just say, One country which has a very big cycle race once a year, and the other country quite famous for its beer would most probably be on first on the list.
And like, why is that?
No idea. Not them being
It's not
like
because like they're kind of in charge of the whole thing, is it?
no, nonsense. But it's like, yeah, while they're playing this game and they're not getting people vaccinated, like, okay, say we get everyone vaccinated in the UK by the end of this year, early next year, say, and like you're like, okay, because look, the cases are like when cases come in, they have been falling, but it's a case of, yeah, any case which has come in, the deaths have been really low now with the whole vaccine coming in, which is a hell of a step in the right direction. Now, when you kind of look across the channel and you like look at France and you kind of look at what's going on in Germany, them going back into lockdowns, and like, yeah, people are really reluctant to take the vaccine out there. Like I'll be amazed if they get things done by the end of this year. I'll be very surprised if they get things done by possibly this time next year. So it's like,
that's true. I will say we are in like a very fortunate situation in the UK because like the vaccines are made here.
Yeah.
Here and in America. Like, doesn't really seem like, unless you went, whatever, not even to say in any type of way about Russia, but if you don't, you're not getting the Russian one, you're not getting the Chinese one, you're not getting the Asian markets vaccines.
Yeah.
So in Europe, your only options are, importing from America, and they're too busy doing their 340 million people, or the UK is in inherently, it makes sense why the UK would hold on to most of them. It makes a ton of sense because they're making it. But it's, they're being put in a difficult situation. But at the end of the day, I do hope that being in or out of the EU wouldn't have made a ton of difference, because this is like unprecedented times, and this wouldn't have been written into the our agreement.
No, I agree. It is unprecedented times. Like no one's seeing it. Like no one foresaw a global pandemic to shut down pretty much 70 to 80% of the world's economy and everything like that. Everyone being told to stay at home for 8 months of a year, literally.
Right.
But like the whole thing is like with the sort of recent sort of like argument which went on around about Christmas time, it just came down to, okay, AstraZeneca was like, okay, got this vaccine. Like whoever signs the contracts, that's the people we're going to deal with first. And the UK government rocked up and went, yeah, here we go, signed it.
Give me that shit.
Yeah, do it now. Let's get it done with. And the EU didn't, and they dilly-dallied and they've like messed around, and like all of a sudden they came lower and lower on the pecking order. So you kind of look at it and go, yes.
Makes a ton of sense. Why?
Yeah. And when they were going, you can't do that, you kind of like go, you can, because they showed up and they purchased it. It's not like you get preferential treatment. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. That, man, it sucks. It sucks because, I mean, we're talking about people's lives here and well-being. So it is really rough. And it's easier to be on the greener side of the grass and like look over and be like, oh, well, you should have. But like kind of in this situation, if they had the opportunity to, it doesn't make sense why they wouldn't have.
No, but like, you know what? Like the whole thing is, it's like hindsight is 2020, but like that is a powerful statement to always say when things are not clear. But when you kind of like look at the sort of state of play and go, yeah, we need to do this quicker and slower, you kind of like go, there's the obvious path. Why didn't you take it?
Yeah, it does seem quite obvious, but I guess that's why we're not in positions of power, because like,
well, hey.
who knows what the actual situation was, Yeah. I mean, a boat blocked a whole canal and the whole world was going break because of it. Like, And apparently, there had been several conversations beforehand to dredge up a second canal, but no country wanted to, because Egypt wasn't going to be the only one that paid for that when the entire world uses that canal, and no one wanted to be like, yeah, we'll chip in for that. And now look at what happened.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
no, you know what? Like, put it this way: when it's always surprises me when people like disaster happens and they go, oh, well, we were talking about doing that type of thing
Mm-hmm.
beforehand. You like go, oh, okay, we
But
live
it's
in,
happened now, so
yeah.
like,
You could have done something about this beforehand, but yeah,
mm-hmm.
what stopped you? Well, it costs too much. Okay,
How
now
much is it costing you now?
a lot. It's like
A lot more than that initial cost. Well, all right, then I guess you're fucking
maybe
down.
sit
Right?
go, hmm,
Mm-hmm.
hmm.
That big old island of plastic and trash that's in the Pacific Ocean,
Yeah,
because it's in international waters, no one wants to pay for that, and it's getting bigger every day.
no,
And I definitely did just watch Seaspiracy on
no.
Netflix.
Yeah, my
Uh,
lady watched that. She was like, oh my God. She's pretty much swearing off fish. She's like, no, no more fish for me.
well, we live in a union of fish and chips, so it's very hard to just swear off of fish altogether. But if you stop eating it a little bit less, that might be good. I'm not
Hey,
here to say stop eating cows and fish and salmon, but maybe
mm,
just eat a little bit less of it, guys. That's we don't eat some veggies, get some mashed potatoes up in you.
eat some veggies. Oh, loving it, loving it. Now, now uh, documentary you should watch when you get a
Mm.
chance. Coded Bias.
Tell me I didn't just watch that yesterday.
You watch that?
I literally just watched that. Yeah, I was going on a documentary binge, and
Ah,
oh man, that has me. I mean, it has me fucked up.
oh,
Especially like when they were doing the London thing, the Metropolitan Police, and we're piloting this program, something that very obviously, clearly is proven to not work.
no.
And I love that we see like a just A-B example. Hey, this boy, this 14-year-old boy is just being identified as a criminal, and
Yeah,
you're gonna heavily interrogate him as if he is that criminal,
yeah,
and then you find out that this 14-year-old boy is not this criminal, and you do nothing. You
no.
don't apologize. You say, well, the computer told us. Fucking like obviously it does not work.
Yeah, but they took the guy that they took the child's like fingerprints out on the street, which I
Straight
mean,
up.
it was just like I don't know if they were doing that with ink or basically as soon as you take the
It
fingerprints, it
looked
just goes on
like a digital
onto
one.
a database or whatnot. So it was
Mm-hmm.
just like you're kind of like going, okay. And when like you hear them just using an algorithm to sort of go through job applications and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
resumes and shit.
yeah. And like you're like going, oh my God, algorithms. It's just
Mm-hmm.
they just farm everything out to these algorithms now, just out of, in some regards, laziness, or to sort of like pass on the whole
Pretty
sort of like,
much.
yeah, like the realm of responsibility onto
They
some.
could say optimize, but it's like, how can this optimize anything if you're not getting a better result?
Well,
Uh,
you know what? It like there was that one section where it just optimized every lady out of Amazon. It's like
very conveniently.
yeah, just like oh, you're a lady, yeah. So
I think there were two points that like really kind of fucked me up the most, and that was actually the Philly girl,
yes,
where she had done all of this stuff after being like let out of jail. She served her sentence,
yeah,
and then has become like an upstanding citizen, and because of an algorithm was still told that you're a high risk,
mm,
person, and so had to do weekly checks, and went to her parole officer, said, "Yo, you know the kind of work that I'm doing. Like, can we do something about it?" And he's like, "Nah, man, the algorithm said so, and like this goes above me and
yep,
the judge's head." So
mm,
like two human beings that are very much in authoritative powers can't even do anything against it. Obviously, we got to do something about that. uh, that's the one that messed me up a lot, especially because it was Philly. I was like, come
Yeah.
on now. And then the in China, besides like the social credit in general,
Yeah.
the woman that was saying, like, it seemed like she was drinking the Kool-Aid and said all the positive benefits of it. You know, like, if you have this good social credit score, like, I'm gonna trust you. I don't have to, weed through and try to figure out if you're a good person or not. And it's like, I get that in like the abstract, but in application, that means now that a government, a dictatorship government, is now in control of saying what is and what is not good behavior. Whether it be like, I spat my gum out earlier. I tried to spit it out into a bush, it hit a fence, and it went onto the sidewalk. Does that mean that I like get points off of my social credit now? You know, and if
It's caught on video camera. Yeah.
probably because there's a ton of well, not here, it's not a ton of CCTV, but over there it would be. And if your social credit score is so low you can't take the train or like public transportation or get on a plane, that's crazy. So if I don't act the specific way that you want me to, you're gonna deny me basic rights,
Yeah.
just basic rights that everyone else has.
Yeah, no, because like this is the thing, like to touch on the 2 points you raised up with regards to like the lady from Philly, where it was like, yeah, you're high risk, bam. It kind of was like if they just let it go down to the algorithm, it was going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy right there and then, because it will just like restricted, restricted, restricted. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
like will she be forced into like making some choices which would not most would be the most beneficial choices. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, and with regards to the social score in China, like the crazy thing is, like when it came, like there was an episode on Black Mirror, I think in the last season, and like where
Yeah.
delayed, like basically,
Charlie Brooker knew it.
yeah, and it was like going, okay, going through it all, and you're like going, yeah, this like you kind of like look at Black Mirror and go, like, what the freaky thing about Black Mirror is this can't happen.
But it's happening right now.
Yeah. And like literally about a year later, you heard about the China social scores. And like you're like going, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Like if that's being brought into China, and look, and this is the thing with this Coded Bias documentary, it's like going, it is slowly creeping into our sort of everyday
everywhere
life. Yeah. So it's like, right, look, you go, because everyone looks at China and goes, China bad, yes, because of what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, yeah, you can't really say many of the companies which are here in like the West are so virtuous as well. And look, with regards to sort of like basically Facebook and their sort of stupidness and data breaches and here and there and everywhere, it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time.
Quite literally. And I think it is, like you just said, it's so much easier to just be like, oh, that's China. It's a China thing. We'll never do that. But for starters, China is like one of the most dominant neo-colonists of today. Like they have their hands all over the world. They're making investments in infrastructure in Africa. I wonder why.
Hey.
So then it's like things like this can very, very easily just become the normalcy in this country, that country, and suddenly you've got entire continents that are kind of run and based in this kind of thing. And I think it's so unfortunate that 1984 is like almost a cliche to say, like Big Brother is watching you, but it literally is like the future that we're headed towards. It showed you 3 or 4 different global examples of that happening.
No, but like, no, like Orwell's just like, yeah, you know what? Look, I'm getting out because I've done enough spinning in my grave to last a lifetime, and another lifetime, and another lifetime. So it's just craziness. Now,
seriously though,
yeah. I have to ask, like, we've been talking about like a number of different subjects, and like, yeah, possible futures and stuff like this. What would you say is going to be sort of in your sort of next possible future, say in the next 3 to 5 years? Because yeah, Nostalgia 1, Nostalgia 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
Is it going to be like a Rocky film and some more?
I that's
Really?
funny. So I'm moving back to Philly in a month. I'm moving back in May.
Oh,
May the 1st actually. Just because COVID kind of it killed the music industry here, and I wouldn't find necessarily like meaningful work, and I'm currently living off of universal credit,
okay.
and I don't enjoy that at all.
Yeah.
I don't. In America, we call that welfare, and there's always like a stigma with that. But I also like I don't enjoy not working. My life like thrives in some sort of structure in the capital beast that we live in. So with that being said, I'm moving back to Philly in like 3 weeks, and I'm gonna be working on music, of course, doing the photography stuff. But in regards specifically to like this nostalgia stuff, Nostalgia 2 is gonna come out in probably June now.
Nice.
I do as much shit as I'll talk about like rapping content and quantity. I do. I write a lot of music, and I don't like to sit on it, so I put it out. I think last year I put out like 5 projects, and I want to put out like a similar amount this year as well, 5 or 6. Um, so Nostalgia 2 will be coming out. I'll do a Nostalgia 3 before the end of the year. But then also, I love thinking in concepts. I think the concept album was one of the greatest things Jethro Tull ever gave us, because we thrive with narratives, and something that can guide us along from a beginning, middle, and end. So yeah, the idea of Nostalgia 1 is like me looking back at like up until like primary school kind of stuff. Nostalgia 2 will be like like. Do you remember what age you like thought you first fell in love? And like the like a childlike kind of love, not like a I'm gonna marry this girl.
I would say it's really around about possibly 7 or 8. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. 'Cause I consider it like a crush, where
Yeah.
it's like the kind of like actual butterflies you get when you're like 13, 14 in secondary school and middle school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y-
Well, that teenager. Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I
I
mean?
was
Like
just.
that shit hits different.
What's going on?
Yeah. Right.
I'm filled with a hunger I've never felt before.
Exactly. Literally.
Why wouldn't it not leave me alone?
Right. Like, oh my God, man. Why am I waking up with this?
What's wrong with you, man? I'm just thirsty. I'm always thirsty.
Can't satisfy this because I'm also 13 years old and no one's really talking to me about this shit.
Still fasting.
Like a fucking gerbil. So Nostalgia 2 is supposed to like kind of harken back to like these like 12, 13, 14-year-old kind of like up until 16, 17, high school, I guess we call it college here, 16 to 18.
Yeah.
That kind of age of just like not lustful, but like youthful love, where like you have these like 3-week relationships and you think you're getting heartbreak as a result of it, and that kind of stuff.
All the music makes sense to me now.
Yeah. I get what REM was talking about. Oh my God. 1 is the loneliest number.
Parents look at you like, okay, yeah, calm down.
It's not that deep, I assure you. Wait until you get a divorce. And by the way, we're getting a divorce. What? Now I know pain. So that's what Nostalgia 2 will be. Nostalgia 3 will be kind of like right up until now.
Yeah.
Because it's been a very tumultuous couple of years. But I mean, the past 10 years, like college until now has been like incredibly transformative, to say the least. So I'm gonna try to make music within that kind of time frame as well. Oh, excuse me. My alarm goes off all the time, and it's Ice Cube. Today was a good day. It was a good day. But by the end of the year, Seascape 2 is an album that's gonna come out. And then that'll be the end of like my trying to do like 1, 2, 3s and whatever. But I love the ocean. Right now I live in New Haven in Edinburgh, and that's right next to the water. And so I wake up to seagulls. I walk along the water. I can hear the seagull right now.
I've heard them a couple of times through this. Yeah,
yeah.
Like,
I got my window open and shit. Yeah. Got blue skies. I gotta thrive in it while I can. But growing up in like, I grew up in the suburbs, but also just in West Philly. It's a complicated situation. But I never grew up next to like bodies of water that wasn't the dirty ass Schuylkill River. Brown mucky kind of. You don't swim in that. So anytime we went down to the shore, that was like something special. You can, the sea breeze is real, seagulls overhead. Boardwalk fries hit different than regular fries. Boardwalk chips, as we would call them. So yeah, this is just like an album, Seascape 2, to harken the idea of that seascape, because I love soundscapes, and if I can put you in that world, like I said before, that's like what I'm striving for. Yeah, but you said 3 to 5 years. Oof, man. Hopefully I survive Philly for a couple years, and then I'm trying to move to Australia for a year, because of that Commonwealth. You can get a nice work travel
permit.
visa.
Yeah, like basically, what I would say to you on that is like, yeah, you're 27 now. Like,
yeah, I'd say mid 30.
Like, it's a hell of a lot easy when you're under 30 to do that. So you might have to speed up that whole process in like Philly. Philly. Right. Okay, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, and I that's also my kind of philosophy in life is like, I don't really care to get married and have children, that kind of stuff. I also don't really want to live that long, as morbid as that is. I feel like if I make it to 60, I'm like, that's good enough for me. I'd call that a long life, relatively. Like, I don't want to die at 99. R.I.P. Prince Charles, dickhead of Edinburgh.
Prince Philip.
That's what I said.
What type
did I say Charles?
Yeah, you said Charles. What type of Brit are you?
R.I.P. Diana is what I meant.
What? It's like, let's not talk about that right now.
No, I did grow up with, like, my mom had pictures of her and everything. Like, she was beloved in the household for sure. Yeah. Philip. R.I.P. Philip. Oh my god. Whatever, man. I think the royal family is dumb. Hot take.
This is the thing. You got to kind of look at it like this way. They're kind of very resilient. Just when you think, oh yeah, no, like they're out of touch, they're out of date, and stuff like this. There is a lot more people which like love that royal family like it's their own. So when you think it's when you think it's all gone and done, it's like, no.
Well, they're so representative, and like I think American pride is gross. Like people are way too patriotic and think that they live in that American bubble for sure. Yeah. But I think the same can easily be said about England, and a large part of that is because of the royal family and the whole lineage of like English pride and God Save the Queen. I think like that kind of like patriotism is not very conducive, because it pits each other together. Like if I feel like being a Black Brit growing up, you had a very different situation growing up than a posh white boy growing up in England.
Well, like this is the thing. You got to understand, like, because I'm born and raised a Londoner. London is
yeah.
London is like you got the UK, you got London.
Very multicultural. Very multicultural.
So it's a different vibe. So if I was like say brought up like in say Manchester or Newcastle or whatnot. My
More like working class kind of
yeah,
cities.
yeah, my experience would be totally different, and it's one of those things where it's very hard to sort of just like go, this is what it is, and like there, like I had because my lady like is from Manchester, like, and when we sort of started dating, it was a case of yeah, it took me out of this London bubble because in many respects, you kind of just like for myself and maybe many other people just see it through this sort of London lens, and like that's how the UK is. And I think many people what look from the outside, where like you go right, they kind of look at the London aesthetic and go, yes, that's what most of the UK is like. But no, no.
I mean, I don't think London is majority Tory, and yet England has been Tory for the past what 10 years, something like that.
Um,
Since right after Blair.
Basically, since around about 2000, I want to say 2010, then sort of Cameron took over because it kind of was just around about a couple of years after the 2008 financial crisis. So yeah. So basically, it sort of just spiraled out, and you kind of were like, okay, now it's like the Tories. Yeah, Cameron like ducked out when he was like, "I'll be with you to handle this Brexit." No, he ducked out immediately.
I'm gonna go fuck a pig.
Well, hey, whatever he may, like whatever he may have done in like with a bit of poultry, like with well, you know what I mean, with a domestic farm animal that is not mine. Like no, I cannot say I was there or anything, but yeah. Yeah, but yeah.
Oh god, it's funny. It's just funny that that's even like a rumor. Like that shouldn't even be a rumor.
Wow. Not look. All I've got to simply say is this: like what you see in America with fraternities and what they might do for their hazing and stuff like that. Like, who knows what like some people might do over here for their sort of hazings and initiations and stuff like that.
Rich posh situations, like. But the only point that I was trying to make is like I feel like London is not necessarily majority Tory, but the country clearly as a whole is or votes that way.
Like the whole thing is with regards to that. No, it's not necessarily the whole of the country is Tory. It's just a case of, I would say, with much of the British public, they tend to think about the arguments a lot more when it actually comes down to election time. It's like there are some parts of the country which are clearly this is Labour, this is like the Tories, never the twain shall like meet. But when the conversation starts and basically when the sort of Labour Party or the Tory Party sort of goes down, and like if they're doing a good job, they're in, no problem. We'll be in again and again and again. When they screw the pooch, they are out, and that's the whole thing. And it's not like in, I would say, with the States where you get to make that sort of last minute decision who might actually run, like because all I've got to simply say is with like the States, you had the choice. You had two bad choices, in my opinion, because look, you had a guy sitting in currently, like who was there, now gone, who was a divisive character. And then you had the Democrats. Yeah.
Trying to be people pleasers. And what's funny is that Democrats are like left of center, but if they were to exist in Europe, they'd be right of center.
Yeah. Now basically
that's also so silly to me.
Yeah. Now basically your Democratic Party is like the Tory Party over here in regards to sort of the way it leans. So it's like you kind of like okay. I find it interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Oh god. We should have had a multi-party system for sure. Even George Washington in his farewell address, he warned everyone of having a two-party system. He said like this shit's bad. Like, it's not good for us. And then we did it anyways.
Wow. Like, you know what? What I would simply say is, yeah, who knows where this change might lead? And like, as President Harris, I mean, like Vice President Harris, to say the least. But yeah,
Haven't seen much of her.
Well, yeah, you know what? That's the whole point. She is like, she's doing exactly what she needs to do. Like when she steps out of the shadows, when like, yeah, in about maybe a year, 2 years, when Biden goes, you know what, I'm stepping down, I'm retiring. Yeah, she'll step right in, have 2 more years, and then basically to help cement her going up for the presidency in 2024. I could be wrong, but
you heard it here first, though.
Well, hey, yeah. Now, I have to. On that happy note, let me reveal this to you. I'm a being of supreme cosmic power, and I can grant you one wish. Yeah, I know that. Before you even say anything, before you even try to make a wish, there are rules in play. So look, okay, no wishing for world peace. Like, because like everyone does that. I wish for world peace. No, look, no wishing.
I wouldn't wish that anyways.
Yeah, look, no wishing for Corona to be gone. Because look, I had to draw on the powers of Dolly Parton and make a number of backroom deals. Yeah, if I have to do any more deals, I have to now go on to the higher power, which is Beyonce, and I don't have that much cosmic power to deal with. Right. Yeah. Now, no wishing, like no writing down a list of things on a piece of paper and like going, I wish everything on this list to come true. No.
Nice. Haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, and there has been some rather impish people who have come on this podcast and tried wishing for more wishes, and none of that. So you can cut that shit right out right there. What is your wish and why, sir? What is your wish and why?
I think plain and simple, and I hope this can get granted. I hope everyone, or I wish everyone could mind their business. Now, I say that because so many of our problems is because we're entangled in other people's business, like shit that we have no reason to be in. That's how I really, really do believe that I try to live my life like that. There are several people in my life that can quote me as saying, mind your business over and over again. Because I try to, like, if it doesn't concern me, why am I getting concerned about it? Why am I getting in a huff about it? These countries, like, why are we getting involved with stuff in Africa? Like, let them mind their own business. Like, let them sort that shit out themselves. And I feel like from the micro to the macro, if everyone could just kind of mind their own business, we'd be in a better situation. Is that possible? Do you think you could do that?
Well, like, you know what? I might have to take down Twitter in the process. But
I'm happy with that, man. I'm not even on Twitter because no one can mind their own fucking business on Twitter. Twitter has destroyed careers. Not my friend in Glasgow. I legally saw her recently, and just got to say that just in case Nicola's watching, and she got me into RuPaul's Drag Race, UK RuPaul Drag Race.
Yeah.
And there's a situation where one of them, Lawrence Chaney of Glasgow, got a little aggressive and angry over this other queen doing something in the spirit of competition that Lawrence Chaney felt was unfair. And so Lawrence Chaney was just very, you're out to get me. We should be with each other, but you've set me up for failure. Like, took it very personally, was just getting very angry about it.
Yeah.
And then all of Twitter, not all of it, but so much of Twitter then gave so much shit and anger, hate, death threats towards Lawrence Chaney. Lawrence Chaney got rid of their Twitter. I believe had some sort of like mental breakdown as a result, and was not good at all.
Mm.
So if this involves getting rid of Twitter, I'm so down for that. I'm so about that, you know, because yeah, that's a large part of where people don't know where to mind their own business. Like, so what if this on this fucking very Hollywood TV show, someone is being a bit dramatic and is not, maybe necessarily treating another person the way that you want them to be treated. Doesn't concern you. Doesn't concern you to the point where you need to make death threats. Like, what is that? What is that shit?
That's
Make it make sense.
that is people with too much time on their hands, my friend. Too much time on their hands. Like,
Straight up.
well, let's say this. Like, no, I've got to say, uh, Mochi, you have been outstanding today. Absolute star, absolute pleasure. Now,
Thank you.
can you tell the lovely people how they can reach you? Obviously, not on Twitter.
Absolutely. Don't look for me on Twitter. I will not be there. But if anyone ever wants to reach out to me, first of all, I'm very approachable. Slide into my DMs. I'm on Instagram for music as Mochi Robinson Music at, and then for my film photography, Mochi on Film. I'd give my phone number if I didn't think that was risky, or if my phone number would exist for more than 3 weeks. But yeah, Instagram is really just it's the modern day business card. So if y'all want to hit a brother up, Mochi Robinson Music or Mochi on Film,
Excellent.
hopefully the name will be written there, but I'll spell it out super quickly. MochiRobinson music, MUSIC. Hopefully you know how to spell music. And Mochi on Film. And to be honest, I'm more active on the film account right now than I am on the music one. Oof, it's like taking a whole big turn. But yeah, reach out, try to talk to me. I love people most of the time when they mind their business.
It's like, mind your business. Mind your business.
Right. That's the mantra, man. Mind your business.
Love it. Well, I'll put that in the show notes and the description for you. Please hit him up, get in contact with him while he's still a UK citizen. Well, he's going to still be a UK citizen. But why
I'll keep that red passport.
Yep. Why he's in the UK and why he goes back to Philly. It's going to change to a blue passport in a few years' time. So,
oh man, hopefully if I just don't come back, they won't make me give it up.
No. You just change it. Just trade it in. Get the blue one. It's all good.
Nah, man, I already have a blue passport. It's kind of ugly. It's like a deep blue one. I'd show it if I didn't. Someone stole my identity in America, so I'm a little afraid to give away anything that could indicate that. So.
No, let's keep your UK identity.
You know what I mean? Shit is crazy. But I appreciate you and thank you for the opportunity, my friend. You've been a pleasure to talk to.
Oh, thank you. Like, your check's in the post. Don't cash it anytime soon. It will bounce like there's no tomorrow.
Man, bank transfer, man. It's all about bank transfer.
Excellent. Let me just say to you, my friends, my life warriors, thank you for watching the show. Please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic, be all the positive bees you can be in this world, and then some. Be thankful. Peace. And we are